America is doing what it's always done to Black American people, that everybody, the whole world watched happen for hundreds of years. Oh, they bombed your city, did.
Please recognize that a lot of the anti blackness directed towards Black Americans from foreign people of color derives from jealousy. See, to be Black American is to be marginalized.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kingsley Wanha and thank you for the love and support. Please do well to like and subscribe for more videos like this. There was a moment, quiet, intentional and powerful, when Black Americans decided to pull back. Not protest, not riot, just pull back. And that single decision exposed how much of this system was being held together by a black label, black culture, black spending, and black participation. Suddenly, businesses felt it, politics felt it, culture felt it, because when the people who move the culture stop moving, everything else slows down. This wasn't noise, this was strategy. Let's talk about what really changed. Listen carefully to how people are reacting now, because this reaction says more than the headlines ever could.
Okay, please hear me as I say this. And I'm going to say this and just know this is not an open door to make xenophobic comments in my comment section. I have blocked and will continue to block people that do that. But listen to what I'm saying, please. I get comments like this a lot from people who have flags in their bios in addition to an American flag. So what you're saying is that we are all Black people. If we are all Black people under the umbrella of Black American, then why do you have these different flags in your bio? Because you are also wanting to attach yourself to the identity and culture of these different countries, right? I need y'all to understand that what these people that are clinging or not clinging, that are being drawn to the FBA movement, they are doing the same thing. They are essentially putting a flag in their bio and wanting to attach themselves to the history, culture of this ethnic group, which sometimes gets lost under the umbrella of blackness in America. America was like, okay, y'all all Black. Okay, we have new immigrants, y'all all Black. And what you see are Black people who are the descendants of enslaved people trying to point out that distinction. I hope that makes sense. But whenever, I kid you not, it's always people that have flags in their bios that are saying this. And I'm like, you have so much pride in your country of origin, your ethnic group. Why don't you understand that that is at the heart of what these people are talking about? And so I always caution people from being too dismissive of this movement, because a core piece of this movement, the xenophobia, immigration aside, is wanting to highlight and show pride in the Black American ethnic group. And I think some people that have come here in later generations, they feel frustrated because they feel like they are a part of that as well. And they are. I'm not saying they're not. But you have to recognize this distinction, this history. There's a portion of history in America that is not shared amongst all Black people. We have to acknowledge that. There's a portion of history that's not shared amongst all Black people. However, you come here and oftentimes you carry the weight of that history, even if you just got here, because America doesn't always make those distinctions. They're just learning them, as we see in the Tucker Carlson video, which is dangerous. But again, I need you all to understand the same pride that you have that leads you to put this flag in your bio. That is what they're seeking. And they want the same kind of respect for that. And so y'all get a little too comfortable in my comments. Like, I'm like, wait a minute now. I don't think it's always fair to have these broad strokes about this movement. I mean, I said it at brunch today with one of my friends who's from Louisiana. And she's like, listen, I'm a proud foundational Black American. She's not going to sit up here and say xenophobic things or anything like that. That's not her thing. But she aligns with that because of the rooted history that she has in this country. And I think that when y'all make comments like this, you're dismissing that part, which is so important. So important.
America is doing what it's always done to Black American people, that everybody, the whole world watched happen for hundreds of years. Oh, they bombed your city, did they? Sounds like them. They came in and burned all your cities to the ground and raped your women and off the children and men and stabilized you. Yeah, that checks out. That sounds exactly like something they do. Oh, you don't understand. They're kidnapping them off the street. They don't have their paperwork, putting them in shackles, throwing them in the back of vans, a mode of transportation, and they'll send them off to prisons to do slave labor. Like Americans, you're like, are you going to Say something new they've done today. You've seen them do that to us for hundreds of years. How can you call someone an alien? Everyone deserves to be here. Everyone is a full citizen. Well, I'd have loved to have y'all there during slavery. Maybe we would have got out of this a hell of a lot sooner. It took like 8 generations of your family line for you to get to that point, but thanks for waking up. In actuality, this is all of y'all's fault who sat by and have watched Black American oppression over the past few hundred years. America would not be the superpower that it is today if it hadn't been for the enslavement of Black Americans, which through our enslavement, we by force built the country, creating this capitalistic society. And instead of helping us, you other countries, other people, other races, you decided to come here or use America to your benefit, to benefit off of the mistreatment, labor, oppression, killing, hanging of Black American people. You knew it was going on. And now you're surprised that America is the way that it is? You're not. You're just surprised that they started beating your ass too. 10 out of 10.
Please recognize that a lot of the anti-Blackness directed towards Black Americans from foreign people of color derives from jealousy. See, to be Black American is to be marginalized and disenfranchised, but from a foreign perspective, you're marginalized and disenfranchised in America, which is the best place to be marginalized in, from a foreigner's perspective. I am from a foreign family. I've said this before and it bears repeating. My family is Jamaican. I'm mixed race. I was born in Montego Bay, Jamaica, emigrated to the United States when I was 5, and I am now a naturalized citizen. So in addition to growing up and being socialized in America and matriculating through the American public education system and the university system, I have that lived perspective in addition to the lived perspective of being raised by foreigners. Like, a lot of the opportunities for advancement, for job placement, for obtaining a formal education that are here in America, that exist in America, are of course taken for granted by American citizens who are born here. These opportunities are unheard of in most parts of the world. For example, in Jamaica, the opportunities for employment, right? You can graduate from high school here in America and literally go work at Target or at the Dollar Tree or go learn a trade or something like that. It's not desirable. It's not what society wants you to do. You know, society says that you should be working in a corporate structure, but the opportunity at least exists. There's also opportunity for obtaining a 4-year college degree through the provision of student loans that are widely available to most eligible individuals, in addition to community college and junior college that's available to folks who wouldn't qualify for federal student loans, but who can work and put themselves through school and pay for tuition out of pocket. Those similar employment and educational opportunities do not exist in places like Jamaica, where you have to be born into a wealthy family to be able to afford a 4-year college degree, because there is no national student loan structure to pay for a university degree. There aren't as many places for employment that don't exist outside of like a hospital or the tourism industry, or if you're not related to a family member who works in like the HR department or the hiring department for a particular place of employment. For example, how I, as an American citizen, can walk into a Costco or a Walmart or a Target or something and be hired based on, you know, my experience or based on my knowledge or what have you. Those places don't exist in Jamaica. So being able to just walk into somewhere with a piece of paper and the ability to work and find that work, that itself, that opportunity is non-existent in most places in the world. So understand that foreign people of color who live in these places where opportunity is few and far between, unless you're born into the moneyed class or unless you're born into the noble class, look at Black Americans living in America and are envious and are jealous. And their thing is, well, what are you complaining about? You don't know anything about marginalization or what it truly means to be dispossessed or what it really means to be oppressed, because you're in America. You have all these opportunities, you have all these chances, you have justice, you have laws and discrimination laws that protect you. Those things don't exist where I'm coming from. So what's the big deal with you? And again, it's envy because, yeah, you're marginalized, but you're marginalized in America where you have a right to legal advice. You have a right to a speedy and fair trial. You have a right to be protected from unreasonable government search and seizure. You have discrimination laws that protect you. You know what I mean? Like, you have all of these things that protect you that you're just born into just by accident of birth that I don't have in my own country. Mix that envy and jealousy in with the existing anti-blackness that pervades almost every society on the planet, and boom, you have activists and the Palestinian liberation movement being anti-black and racist towards Black Americans. For my Black American brothers and sisters, understand that that's where a lot of the antipathy from other foreign people of color comes from. It's nothing, its basis is in jealousy and envy, and even though that sounds like an oversimplification, I promise you it's not. Again, I grew up in a foreign family, being raised by foreigners, living here in America, while at home I was being socialized as a foreigner, and then in public society and public schools that I was attending and jobs that I held, I was being socialized as American. As an American, I can tell you that perspective that I'm speaking from is absolutely valid. And one last thing, another perspective to add to this is that when you come to America as a foreigner, in addition to fighting white supremacy, in addition to fighting poverty, now you're fighting xenophobia, right? Now you're fighting the immigration system and having to spend tens of thousands of dollars, if you have it, and years matriculating through the immigration system in the US. Foreigners like myself who have to deal with the United States Center for Immigration Services, who have to worry about ICE, who have to worry about whether their green card needs to be renewed, who have to pay for the exorbitant fees that it costs to apply for citizenship, because citizenship is not automatically granted to folks just because you live here for X amount of years. It is something that you have to apply for. It costs thousands of dollars, and it takes years for your application to process. It's not an immediate, yes, congratulations, you're now a US citizen. They have to go through your entire immigration record from the very date you set foot on US soil to determine whether or not you're even eligible to be a US citizen. And all while that process is ongoing, you are experiencing xenophobia, you are experiencing struggling with your dual identity. On the one hand, you're not fully American, so you're not quite in with American crowds, but on the other hand, your family and your immediate network don't view you as being a full native of the homeland either, because now you live in America and you grew up here and you've been socialized here. So you struggle with those identity complexes and whatnot, all while you're waiting for the US government to turn around and say, okay, yeah, you can be here forever now, basically. My mom raised my sister and I while my mom and I were undocumented immigrants. My sister was born here, thank God, but my mom and I were undocumented immigrants for 15 years. Not because we came here illegally, not because we came here, you know, by subverting the process. We arrived with visas. My mother was married to my father, who was a Jamaican national, who was also a U.S. citizen. So this process wasn't because of any of our own doing. We came here, lived an upper middle class lifestyle, and came from the upper class of Jamaican society, and yet and still we still struggled. So for my Black American brothers and sisters, add all of those nuances to not explain away or to justify the racism and the anti-blackness that we're seeing from foreign communities of color, but to explain it so that you understand where it's coming from. Foreign people of color are deeply envious of Black Americans and the privileges and the liberties Black Americans seemingly have here in the United States. And yes, they full well know that those privileges are always at risk of being taken away by white patriarchal structures, because these foreign communities of color are subject to those same structures abroad. They know that. The issue is that unlike Black Americans, they don't have the balls to stand up to those patriarchal structures. And that's another element of the envy. Something that my Black American friends have taught me, a phrase that I carry with me everywhere, is that closed mouths don't get fed. Black Americans fully understand that and have understood that from day one, which is why Black Americans were marching, protesting, boycotting, burning down slave plantations, making speeches until rights that where they should have been born with were given to them almost by force. Black Americans were not afraid to stand up to white patriarchal structures and white supremacy, and still today stand up to white supremacy in ways that foreign communities of color are just too afraid to do. And those foreign communities of color are also envious of Black Americans' bravery for standing up to white supremacist structures, and then in turn being rewarded with rights and liberties for standing up to those structures. Unfortunately, this is all just another version of high school. It's all just another version of schoolyard bullying, and foreign people of color are just very deeply envious and jealous of the privileges they think Black Americans have in the United States, and how Black Americans are born into those privileges, and also the ballsy bravery and courage that Black Americans have in demanding that those privileges, those rights, those liberties stay in place.
So we can be honest, okay? Many immigrants, not all of them, many immigrants come over here and they mock the oppression of ethnic Black Americans, okay? Whether they understand what's going on and the dynamics behind it is irrelevant. The fact is, a lot of them come over and they mock our oppression. They don't understand that here's the truth. The truth about our oppression is the fact that we can't be deported. Okay? They can. Okay? And this is a power dynamic that white supremacy has used throughout history. Okay? The only way Black Americans can leave is if we want to. Okay? And they have tried it, like, for instance, with Liberia, they've tried it by making other places, yeah, go over here, go over there, go over there. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit that they have paid, just like they did with Liberia, they have paid leaders in other countries to say, okay, we'll make you citizens, or okay, we'll do this. It wouldn't surprise me at all, because they've been trying to get us off of the United States of America for centuries. Okay? They cannot, because we are citizens, right? We aren't immigrants. And so the only option they've had is to oppress us. And they used immigrants to do that as well. Okay? If anyone's watching this video, you have to go back and watch my Stitch video and the other Stitch video. Okay? So when the immigrants come over here, the professional immigrants come over here, so that they don't have to give Black Americans these professional positions a lot of times, especially in the past. The immigrants feel like, hoo-hoo, I'm smarter than you. But in reality, the only reason they're allowing you to come over here so they can get rid of you later. They're not, they want to get rid of you later. It's just, it's a constant boom, 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 boom. Okay, so yeah, you come over here on a visa, they want you to leave. They want you to leave, and they'll get somebody else to replace you. They want you to leave. Okay? That's the whole thing. And this is why we're seeing what we're seeing today, where suddenly immigrants are a problem. No, they've never, and I did a video about this long ago. They never wanted you here. They make things appear like they want you here. They don't want you here. They just want you to work. That's it. Okay? Why do they need the immigrants? Not because they're smarter. It's because, oh my gosh, we don't want to let Black Americans. We don't want to let Black Americans, because we can't get rid of Black Americans. Black Americans will end up being on top. Because they already know. They already know our skills. They already know about us. They'll be on top. We have to keep Black America down, because we can't get rid of them. We have to keep Black America down. We have to keep their water bad. We have to, wherever they are, we have to do everything we can to keep them down. We can let Chinatown flourish, but Black America, no, we can't. We can't do that. We have to. Can't do that. No. We can let some people come over here on some H-1B visas or HB1 visas, whatever it's called. We can let that happen. Yeah. But yeah, we can let some people come over. As long as we can ship them back. Make sure you look for anything they do illegal. We can ship them back. They can't ship us anywhere. They can't ship us anywhere. See? So that's where the oppression comes in. Because we want to stay supreme. In their heads now, they're supreme. We want to stay supreme. And you can see it happening today. When they tried to remove Tuskegee Airmen out of remove the fact that they're Black. Just put them in with everybody else. Remove. You know? They just have this thing about being supreme in their heads, right? When they know they're not. They can't run this country alone. Let's be honest. They never did. Okay? But they want to keep the majority. They want to keep the majority. And then they want to make the immigrants feel like, yeah, you're better than Black America. When in fact, they're not. They're not. they're going to find every single way to get them up out of here. This isn't the first time they've done it to. This is not the first time that they've done it to Latinos. This is not the first time. This is not the first time they've done it to Africans. This is not the first time they've done it. This is not the first time they've harmed Asians. They're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. They're going to find a way. They're going to do all kind of different. It's going to be some kind of 12-step process that okay, we're going to do this first, this first, this third. They love playing the long game. And they will change a law here or there for something they plan on doing in the next couple of years. Oh, yeah. They do that. They're doing that right now. And I know a lot of people think, oh, she's lying. I'm not lying. Here, look. Historically, they've always brought immigrants over here, including white ones. The white immigrants aren't any. The white immigrants are duped too, okay? The white immigrants are duped too. They need the white immigrants because a long time ago, the white immigrants were indentured servants and they could hire them much cheaper than black Americans, regular workers. Yeah, because even black Americans hired some of them. And they didn't complain or anything because they didn't want to get kicked out of America. They wanted to stay in America. They didn't complain, so they took whatever they needed to take. Okay, and that doesn't make black Americans lazy. It's just that black Americans had options. We don't have we can't be deported. They knew that the immigrant white people and non-white people didn't have an option. They're going to take it. They're going to shut up. They're going to do the work or leave. And sometimes they can do all of it and still end up leaving, getting deported. So that's how it is in America. Our oppression, and I want every ethnic black American to hear this. Our oppression over the years has not been for any other reason but because they fear what we do. That's it. They don't fear anybody else. They fear what we do. Because we are the ones who can stay. This is our country too, and they know it.
The lesson here is simple. Power doesn't always look loud. Sometimes power looks restrained. And when black Americans pulled back, the illusion cracked. The question is, did they learn from it, or are they hoping things just go back to normal? Thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you.